Every NFL coaching vacancy now filled. We're going to break it down, give you grades on all the hires. It's the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital Live, and it starts right now.
Let's go! It's time for the talk to you. Cause Manchild is born, it's always coming to. And Boy Green is always on the scene. And we're gonna always bring it to you live streaming. So get ready, ready. Get ready, cause here they come.
All right, welcome aboard, everybody. Happy Monday. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. It is Super Bowl week. The best teams, theoretically, in the NFL. I don't know if a lot of people would agree with that. Facing off in the Super Bowl in lovely Santa Clara, California. I've been out that way, by the way, Boy Green. I have not been to the Niners Stadium, which is newish. I know it's not that new, but it's newish. I guess I haven't been out there since then. But nonetheless, it is a beautiful place to play football, and it's going to be a fantastic Super Bowl. You and I both on the side of the Seattle Seahawks, not big on New England, getting back and getting themselves another ring at this point. But, man, they've had a heck of a season, and they are dealing this week with a little injury to their quarterback. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit later in the show. But the focus of today's show, Boy Green, is NFL hires, other than the Raiders, who have not made it official, but all signs are clearly pointing that it's going to be Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks, that is going to be named their head coach. They can't do that yet until we get past the Super Bowl, so we might see that Monday or that Tuesday, bing, the last job is filled. But we saw 10 jobs. That's a third of the league nearly, Boy Green, available at the end of the season when it was all said and done. Some of them were dropped on Black Monday. Some of them were dropped before Black Monday, and some were drafted, dare I say, after Black Monday. So across the board, we saw teams making decisions about the urgency to get themselves to the next level, whether that's to a Super Bowl, whether that's back to the playoffs, whether that's out of purgatory, where some of them might live and breathe. So I thought, why not on this day, early Super Bowl week, let's look at those hires and let's grade them 1 to 10 and have a little discussion about who did well and who guffed it up again and is headed towards Loserville one more time. Boy Green, by the way, good morning. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good morning. So first off, two things here. Shout out to our number one Austrian Jets fan with 5 Boy Green Coffee Club memberships, baby. Booyah! 5 raffle tickets, and now we'll get into this later, but you can now gift on the MC Show digital channel as well. So, Austrian, you got 5 raffle tickets for our February contest. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And by the way, these 5 new members to the Boy Green Coffee Club out in the audience, and make sure you guys show your love by liking the video and hitting subscribe. Those 5 are now MacQ973, Joseph Patton, Nate is Mid. We got Edna Mode, and also Wild Chew. You guys are all now members of Boy Green Coffee Club. Again, you guys can now do that.
And by the way, those first 5 on the way to their homes right now, Boy Green, probably arriving within the next couple of days, are these beautiful pint glasses. Boy Green, what you got in there? A little
Mountain Dew. Sure, why not? There you go.
Mine kind of looks like Mountain Dew, but that's not Mountain Dew. That's genuine American beer right there. Okay?
Nice. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
So there you go. I know it's only 11:05 in the morning, but so what? Cheers, Boy Green. Cheers.
That's it. Yes,
you see that beautiful logo that both of us are showing you? That is the 12th Manchild logo. That is the name of our VIP clubs. I know with Boy Green's group, it is called the Boy Green Coffee Club. We're a little past coffee time here, typically when we perform our show. Therefore, we're going to pint glasses. We're drinking early, as they say. All right. Yeah. So you get this beautiful new logo, the 12th Manchild, and the original ones that I made here, Boy Green, also have our new logo on the other side. So it's double barrel fun, double sided, fun stuff. So here's to you, Boy Green, and the audience.
Thank you very much. So again, I want to give a big shout out, Austrian Jetfan. Thank you very much.
So if you want to become a member of the 12th Manchild, you can now do it on our website. Of course, you have to be on our site, which is at MC Show Digital. That is our YouTube channel. What?
Which Lurch? We have 5 MC Show Digital memberships that were just given away by our number one Austrian Jet fan. So Lurch.
And I just a quick little side story before you comment on this. Okay. I just sent number one Austrian Jets fan his pint glass,
Of
because
course.
as we promised on Wednesday, when our memberships leaked through, unbeknownst to us, they were available to our viewers. We knew that they were there, but we didn't know that you were going to be able to click on them, that you would find them. You people are way smarter than us, way smarter than us.
Definitely.
And so we were like, all right, okay, we got to tell everybody about this stuff. We just wanted to wait till today to do it for various reasons. But anyway, long story short, I mailed out, I've become package central here, and I mailed out to each of the first 5 people that jumped in on our new memberships a pint glass. And with those logos, as you just saw, it's our first piece of merch. So you're getting something kind of historic to our show. You could say, I got the first piece of merch these guys ever put out there. And one of the recipients was indeed number 1 Austrian Jet fans, who was number 1, jumped in number 1, became the very first person. He gifted 5 memberships to 5 of his buddies, and he got the pint glass. Yes. So I have not, in recent days anyway, mailed anything all the way to Austria. As you know, I am German on both sides of my family, and I actually have many, many relatives in Germany. Different members of my family, some of my nieces, my nephews, my brothers and sisters, have recently, or in the last, say, 7 to 8 years, gone over to Germany and visited with those areas of my family,
Awesome.
Distant relatives, so to speak, or ones that we never get to see because they're all the way in Germany here and we're all the way in New York.
Sure.
So I am definitely, it's not even a bucket list thing. It's a must thing for me that I'm going to go over and visit the family at some point. It's just going to take a little bit of setup.
Sure.
A trip overseas is never
finances.
a thing. Your finances, the logistics, you got to find time when you can do it. We're rather busy people. That makes it more difficult. As you know, I'm a college professor on top of my job here at MC Show Digital. So, I got to work around my teaching schedule. So it limits when I can travel, especially if I'm going to go to Germany. I'm going for a few weeks. I'm not going.
Yeah, there you go. Sure.
So anyway, so I had to put this package together to send to Austria. Number 1 Austrian Jets fan. In case you didn't know, folks, he lives in Austria.
That is true. I can confirm.
So, he sent us obviously his information, and I packaged it up, and then I went down to the post office to say, all right, I got to send this package over to Austria, and it was quite an interesting process that you go through. Things obviously that go overseas have to go through customs, and there's some additional fees and so on and so forth. But it was cool, like, just to know that glass right now is probably either on a boat or a plane right now. It's heading probably a plane. I don't know if it went on a boat.
Maybe.
This little box, with the pint glass, it's on its way to Austria. And I think I'll have to double check it, but I think you know how you get like approximate arrival.
Yes.
I think Austrian's going to get it this week. I think that's what it said on the the label or whatever you want to call it. That that tells you when they expect it to arrive.
Sure.
So. But for all of you who got those first 5 free, I give away 5 pint glasses to the first 5 members. Please, when you get your pint glass, some will probably get it sooner than others. Those in the States, obviously, some are relatively nearby. In New York State, I know I mailed at least one out to New York State, so that's going to get there probably in a couple days. Fill your pint glass up, as I have this morning, with perhaps your favorite beverage, whether it's Mountain Dew or whether indeed is beer.
Take a picture.
And take a picture, please. Drinking out of our glass or hanging with our glass or our glass on the shelf behind you or something.
Yeah.
But we want you to share those fun moments because this is kind of cool. We created merch. It's our first merch, so we're kind of jazzed and excited about it, and we hope you are as well. So
all right, Lurch, I need you to break the champagne glass here. So because you sort of mentioned it, that we're doing a brand new thing here. You may notice that the setup looks a little different. Our presenting sponsor is right there, which is Northeast Roofing Professionals, which is terrific. We have new sponsors in the corner, brand new logo above my head. So there's a lot of new around here. And one of the other news is, Lurch, is that you will see, you just heard it a minute ago, right? Every time a Boy Green Coffee Club membership gets gifted, you hear this. Draft
you love that. You love the draft. You're a draft.
Makes a lot of sense.
Draft nut, almost insanely into the draft. I've known this about you for years and years and years.
True.
You have forced me into this genre of having to look more deeply. I don't think I'll ever be as deep as you are when it comes to all things draft, but certainly you have raised my level of interest and my level of knowledge in the NFL draft and what it's all about and so on and so forth. And by the way, Boy Green, I don't want to put the cart before the horse here.
Okay.
Because we got to see what April will bring. But as you know, the NFL draft is in Pittsburgh this coming year.
It is.
You and I were literally standing in the summertime when we went to a Pittsburgh Pirate game with a bunch of our interns as we were wrapping up our radio careers. And we were standing on the very spot. They literally have a clock sitting right on the water in Pittsburgh where the draft is going to be located, where they're going to set it up right outside Acrisure Stadium there on the beautiful Three Rivers of Pittsburgh. And I think, Boy Green, I don't know. I mean, we got to figure it out. It's logistics. It's a lot of things.
Here it is. Here's that clock. So here's a picture
check
of
it
it.
out. Look at that. Yeah, there it is.
So
when we were there, 307 days left, and they literally
it is much closer now, obviously. But yeah, there it is. This is in Pittsburgh. This is a thing that they built because, of course, as you guys all know, the draft travels now. So it's pretty cool. We did a short. That actually is part of the intro. You guys will see it. Right. Boy Green's on the scene, and Manchild doing in front of that thing. 360 camera angle shot of me in front of it. That's true. So you're saying you want to go?
We may have to consider going. I mean, when is the draft ever going to be this close to us in central New York? I mean, Pittsburgh is about a 5-hour drive for us. I'm obviously very familiar with the city because my son went to college there. So I was in and out of Pittsburgh quite a bit for 4 years. My son has since graduated, but I still go back even without him now because I love that city so much. And there are so many cool things to do there. And I know where all the cool restaurants are, where all the cool hot spots are, and so on and so forth. So I become kind of somewhat of a tour guide, dare I say, to others that want to venture into Pittsburgh, perhaps for the first time or perhaps for the first time in a long time. So that's got to be a consideration for us, whether we can work it out or not. I mean, April's not an easy month for me, but maybe we can figure something out.
Hey, by the way, one of our MC Show digital members, I see All Yank down there saying, I'd love to meet up with you two. Come on down. He'll be in Pittsburgh for the draft. So,
nice. Okay.
I think it has to. I've never been to the draft myself. It's been on my bucket list for a long time. Should it go there as whether fans or credential media or both, because there's multiple days of the draft, so you'd have your chance to do anything and everything you'd want, is pretty cool. So I think we have to make that happen. But before all that, Lurch, like I said.
By the way, hard to believe that I have been to an NFL draft and you have not.
Yeah, I know. See,
that one up on you.
I have not. I have never been to a draft. That is, I can factually say that.
And maybe this will be the year. Go on.
No, it makes a lot of sense. So no, if ever, which is the cool thing, this show gets streamed live in a lot of places. My Boy Green channel, this MC Show digital channel on Twitter, to the millions that are watching around the world, which is great. And when Boy Green Coffee Club memberships are here, we still have the draft chime, so you will hear those when Boy Green Coffee Club memberships are gifted, which I appreciate. But also, I love it when the MC Show digital clips are played. So, Lurch, I think it's only appropriate now to announce. Yes, I need you to crack
the virgin. We're no longer a virgin. All right.
Yes. So explain.
So here's I'll explain it. So if you just either sign yourself up or gift a single membership, to anyone, which happens all the time, and several people have done it on day one last Wednesday. Somebody gifted a membership to HEP. All right, and HEP, he lives down in the greater New York area. He's got a pint glass on the way to his house because he was indoctrinated as one of our first 5 members.
Yeah.
So when you either sign up for a membership yourself or you gift a membership to someone, a single membership, you will hear this.
Hell yeah.
All right, that's going to be our sounder for all
every
things.
time.
Boy Green has the little draft thing. We will play.
Hell yeah.
All right, there you go.
And
sounder for you. But if you go a little deep, you go a little further. Let's say it's 5 memberships, like Austrian Jets fan has now done. Okay, increasing our membership, and thank you as usual, Austrian. Fantastic, you are. Then we have a bevy of clips to choose from. Boy Green, let me pick the first one.
You pick, of course.
Right? We have some really cool, different clips, and you get a little special, a little special thing. And the clips are, more like 10 seconds long or something. Yeah, and we have plucked clips from the movie commercial world. Okay. So a little of both. We'll probably even add a few more to this library. But Boy Green and I literally over this weekend were like, all right, let's find some cool stuff. So we both found a couple of cool things and we played it. Okay. Which one do I want to choose?
Up to you.
First one here. It's so hard to choose.
Yeah, very important. Mas importante.
So many good ones. All right, I'll go with the classic. All right, I'll go with the classic.
I think I know where you're going.
It's one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. Take a listen or take a watch. You don't have to listen. Listen and watch. Watch and listen. I'm so used to saying listen from our radio days.
Radio days.
All right, so this one goes to you, number 1 Austrian Jets fan.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
classic scene from Rocky.
What are we
Rocky
waiting
2.
for?
Rocky
That
2.
accent. Oh my God.
Adrian's in a coma. She comes out, and then Rocky goes out there and, of course, beats Apollo Creed to become the heavyweight champion of the world. Fantastic. That is the scene from Rocky 2. So we have some other ditties. Some of them are really funny. Some of them are outright silly. Some of them are kind of classic scenes. So if you want to see more of those clips played, do what number one Austrian Jets fan has done here and go out and gift a bunch of memberships, package them up, send them to some of your friends, and we will indeed play a cool clip for you.
Yeah, so two things here. First off, let's read the 5 new members to the MC Show digital brand, the 12th man-child, as it were. And here are the 5 new members, again, that joined over on the Man-Child Show with Boy Green, which is awesome. Those 5 memberships from Austria went to Bobby K5K, Craig Mechanics, Jerry Moore, Cuca Jet Fan, and Boy Green. What the? I was gifted one of those 5. Wow.
Boy Green, you're in.
Okay, wow. Wow, I'm not sure how to feel about that, but thank you, Austrian. That's awesome. And so you got this is a good random, and then we'll get to the grading, I promise. This is a good random thing to explain. When you give to memberships out to the universe, as Austrian has did, he does not get to pick 5 of our nearly 600 subscribers, say, I want this one, this one, this one, this one. It's random. However, it goes to the most active participants in our channel. They are more likely to receive the membership. Wow. So if you comment a lot, if you like the videos, if you share the videos out, YouTube's algorithm keeps track of those
benefits,
people that are most active, and they are the most likely to be gifted. Now, you guys in the universe can just, which, says, Old Yank says, BG must be pretty active.
You must be pretty active.
I'm active every day on it, so apparently, so I guess that counts. But you guys can all punch your own tickets in. You don't have to wait to be gifted if you don't want. But if you do, just if you are very active, that's a very huge part of our show too, which we really appreciate as the subscribers continue to grow. So this is awesome. Thank you, Austrian, for those 5 memberships, both to the Boy Green Coffee Club and also to MC Show Digital. The support means the world, everybody. So thank you. As we have over 100 people here in the room, make sure you guys like the video no matter where you're watching.
All right. I know we wanted to get into this coaching thing. Before we do, though, since we're on this, let's just finish the job, and then we can get into our sports content here of the show. Yeah. So we have membership available. Yes. But here's the whole blanket. Here's the whole buffet table, so to speak, so that you know what it is you're getting into and what it is that you reap when you join our channel. We created just for the sake of making it more interesting for some people who want to participate in an even higher level, levels of membership. I know recently, Boy Green, you just expanded to 2 levels for a long time. You know, you just had a 1-level membership. It was just join Boy Green Coffee Club. Now you have the Espresso Club.
That was a lot of fun. We did our first live show over the weekend, Lurch. Did you hear how long it was?
No, how long was it?
Okay, so I'll give you a chance
I'm
again.
not surprised. I won't be surprised by anything.
So again, the Espresso Club, the biggest perk of the Espresso Club is once a month, we do a live private show that the public can't see. Yep. Right. The Boy Green Coffee Club can't even see it. You have to be an Espresso Club level member to watch and participate, call in, interact, everything. And so we did our first one. And my fiance, before she went to bed, I said, I'm going to do this thing on Saturday night. She said, how long do you think it's going to be? I'm like, no idea. It could be the shortest thing or longest thing. I have no idea. Because it's only 20 people. It's only whoever's in the club. So that's all it's open to. So I said, I have no idea. So Lurch, take a guess. The first ever meeting over the weekend, how long do you think that show was?
3 hours, I bet. You guys go so long. I know you've had some shows recently in your morning that are going over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So 3 hours is my guess. Maybe I'm going crazy, but that's what I'm saying.
4.5 hours.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I knew it. I knew I was going low. I mean,
and it was crazy. I'm like 4.5 hours, but we talked about everything, family, all this stuff. So anywho, the only reason I bring it up is
that those kind of sidebar meetings, if you want to call them exclusive meetings, that you get for participating and supporting the channel. This is really all about support. Right. It's not some kind of greed thing. It's about support. Like, in order for people like us to do the things that we do, I mean, there are a lot of expenses. There are things that we have to pay for, which is why you see these wonderful sponsors above us, as Boy Green mentioned earlier, Northeast Roofing Professionals. They just joined us as a presenting sponsor. So thank you so much. They do roofs right here in the central New York area, particularly in DeWitt and Fayetteville. So if you own a home in either of those 2 areas or the surrounding areas there of DeWitt DeWitt and Fayetteville. Please give our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals a call. Fantastic stuff too with that is you may say, hey, we're in the throes of winter. Nobody's doing anything on my roof. You know what? This is when you schedule for spring and summer because these roofing companies can get very busy. So you want to reach out to Northeast Roofing Professionals now if you're thinking about, getting something done during the good weather here in central New York, the warm weather, dare I say. This is when you want to reach out. This is the time of year. So our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals, will tell you a little bit more about them a little bit later in the show. We have a spot that we're going to play that you can see for 30 seconds and get all their information. And as Boy Green mentioned, we've got some new sponsors now up in the corner, if I can.
Yeah, above your head.
Up in the corner above my head. Of course, we still have wonderful sponsors in Bayberry and Box Drop and Cams, but now we have added some other sponsors. We've added a couple of florists. You see one of them right there, St. Agnes Florist, and you'll see some others popping up as well. One of today's co-sponsors is Creative Florist. They are a wonderful florist in Liverpool, New York. And guess what's coming up, Boy Green?
Valentine's Day. Oh,
Valentine's Day. And by Wednesday's show, I'm pretty sure that the florists that we're working with, there are 3 of them in the central New York area, so you could just go to the one that's closest to your house, are all going to give a special discount if you tell them that you heard about them right here on our show. So I'm trying to nail down those numbers, so I don't want to let anything out today.
Of course.
Specifically for Valentine's Day, we will be able to give, you'll go walk in the store and say, hey, you give a little secret code word, and you indeed will get a discount on your Valentine's Day bouquet.
Terrific.
All of you should be thinking about for your sweethearts for Valentine's Day, which is coming up fast. Today's the 2nd. We are 12 days away from Valentine's Day.
Oh boy.
So we'll let you know more about that. Definitely by Wednesday's live show, I should have everything ironed out there. But again, we need the support of sponsors, and more importantly than anything, we need your support. We need you to come here and to enjoy what we're doing and to participate at a high level. And if you have the extra money to buy a little merch, as we're going to set up a merch store. It's not set up yet, but we're going to get it set up very, very soon. I'm working on our merch store. You can do that. Okay, memberships and levels. So Boy Green has 2 levels. We decided let's go bigger. Let's create 3 levels, and you can see with each of the levels what are the things that are included. Boy Green, you know about all this stuff intricately because you've been doing this for a long time. So why don't you just walk us through the various things, and I'll chime in where necessary.
Yeah, so again, we're streaming live from 3 different platforms right now, including the MC Show digital brand. So these membership levels you guys are seeing on your screen is exclusively for the Manchild Show with Boy Green. Our membership group, our people, our patrons, our members are the 12th man-child. And there are 3 levels of the 12th man-child. The first one is the initial level. Well, it's very simple. 12th man-child, 12th man-child. For $4.99 a month, here's what you guys get for being a initial member to our group, which several people have joined already today and over the weekend, which we appreciate. You get a loyalty badge next to your name, so we can separate you in the chat. For instance, I see Johnny Boy here, member. He's got that little emoji icon right next to his name that indicates that he is a member. Craig Mechanics, member. I see that name. So again, a loyalty badge separates you from the rest of the pack and highlights your name in a different color. You have access to our emojis. Shout out to Jets Worldwide. We have a bunch of custom emojis that you guys can use right now. There's a brand new Boy Green face. There's a Manchild face. There's a Mookie face, for goodness sake.
Mookie's in there. That is the coolest face of them all.
Yeah, so we'll highlight that on the screen in a bit, but if you're in the comment section right now, you can let it ride there in the comments, which is cool. You get member shout outs again throughout the show. We'll see your comments and highlight them on the program. We'll give priority replies to comments, whether on live videos or other videos. I see we have Retire 80 already, who's a big local Syracuse fan. So he's making some Syracuse comments, which we'll get to later in the show, which I appreciate, and we'll give those or some priority as well. Early access to new videos. Again, there's, as you guys know, several of our videos are recorded and they drop at certain times, but you can have access to them before they drop to the public. That's being a 12th Man-Child member. And of course, members only polls and other exclusive perks of that nature. So that's the first level. It's 12th Man-Child. It's $4.99. That's a first level lurch. Anything you want to say there before we go on?
No, I mean, just good. And yeah, definitely delve into the emojis. We're going to even create some more, but there are some cool ones there already that you could start using. So that's a lot of fun to just push those up. Yep.
And then if you want to push it to the next level, the true diehard fans out there, not everyone is, so it's a very elite special group. And we don't have any diehards yet that have committed to this level. But these are members only shorts, members only videos, members only live streams, members only live chats. Folks, this is taking it to the next level. This is special shows, just as I was sort of explaining for the Espresso Club on my Boy Green channel. This is the membership level for you. It'll be intimate conversations that we have, and it could be about sports. It could be about life. It could be about anything. Career advice. Lurch has a very long history in both TV and radio that you can pluck his brain about and things of that nature. So I'm very much looking forward to that next level of content when people join that diehard level, which is $9.99 a month. You get those kind of exclusive perks, which are very cool. So I can't wait to do more shows like that. Hell, like I said, I just had my first one over the weekend, and it was magical, and I just loved the response coming out of it. So many people just said, wow, that felt special. That felt different. And I'm glad that that's the impact that it had. And then finally, if you want to push all your chips in the middle of the table, this is the elite of the elite. Hell, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, there's less than 400 people on the planet that have a gold jacket. So if you want an MC show,
we should have included a gold jacket at this.
We probably should have.
Yes.
A 12th MC jacket. There is the Hall of Famers level, which is $19.99. You get exclusive membership in our fantasy football league. We're going to create a custom 12th Manchild fantasy football league that all of you out in the audience can be a part of if you join the Hall of Fame level, which is $19.99. We'll follow you on social media. You'll get exclusive behind-the-scenes updates on our entire podcasting journey here of photos and status updates. You will get discount on the merch that Lurch said earlier that he's working on.
My store together, yep.
Yep. Again, I see Iowa Jets in here saying merch for Lurch, merch from Lurch. You know, there's a lot of possibilities there for sure. That's all in there. And a Hall of Fame merch package. So, man, there's going to be and of course, I didn't mention this, but every level you go to, diehards, Hall of Famers, you get all of the previous pluses as well, the perks. Mm-hmm. So if you're a diehard, you also get loyalty badge, emoji, member shout out, all those things. So every level you go up, you get everything from before and everything whatever plus, that current level is. So everything again, plus. 3 levels. It's pretty cool. And this is officially launched today.
Yeah. And ideally what we'd like to do is we want to get a 12-team fantasy football team together. So if we get 10 people at the Hall of Fame level, Boy Green and I will join you, and we will create an exclusive Man-Child Show with Boy Green digital-only fantasy football league. It'll be a special fantasy football league just for Hall of Fame members, and me and Paul will join you, and you will compete against us just like we do with our other fantasy leagues that we started and created when we were in the radio world and still continue to do today. So this will be an exclusive fantasy football league. And what a cool thing, some of those folks might join us, say, in these member only live streams like the one you had over the weekend.
Sure.
And then we could talk fantasy football in the crowd.
Oh yes,
so that'll be really really cool. So it's a guaranteed entrance into our fantasy football league if you are one of the first 10 who jump into the Hall of Famers level. Okay, so
yes.
Again, if you can afford it, not asking you to empty your pockets for sure, but if you're somebody who can afford it and wants to be part of that at that highest level, then join our Hall of Fame level. So there you go. It's all spilled out now. It's all on the table, Boy Green. So pick your level that fits you, but you're going to get good benefits any way you can. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'm working on putting together a merch store that we can use so that I don't have to be shipping Lurch as I have been for the last week in sending out things to people. I'd like to get somebody professional to handle that so that I don't have to worry about it and I can focus on other things that our channel is up to, like the content, perhaps, and things of that nature. So thanks everybody for your support to this point. We wouldn't be able to even create this stuff without you. So all honor, all homage goes to you guys for supporting us, but we still want to grow even further. So tell your friends, give away, gift some memberships out there, have some fun with it. It's all designed to be fun, and engaging and to create this wonderful, wonderful community, that we've only been at for a little over 6 months. So, I mean, our community is still very small and is still very new, but we hope, in another year, 2 years, 3 years, we're just going to have a really, really cool community, and maybe we'll do some events like Boy Green does. We'll do some tailgating at some football games, or find some cool events that we can join together and literally meet each other and stand on the same ground and so on and so forth. But in the meantime, virtual is our world, and you can meet us in the virtual space. And some of those memberships include exclusive virtual access to us, which will be a lot of fun as we get this rolling. So again, thanks for your support. Go ahead, BG.
All right, Lurch, before we get into the actual content that we have here, should we like regroup, take a quick time out and sort of regroup and breathe before we dive into the full report card?
That sounds wonderful. That sounds absolutely wonderful. Today's broadcast brought to you presented, I should say, by Northeast Roofing Professionals. They are our new presenting sponsorship, so you will hear us talking about Northeast Roofing quite a bit. And the folks at Creative Florist, I just saw them pop up there in the screen, getting ready for Valentine's Day. So we'll step away real quick. We'll show you a little 30 seconds from each of those two businesses. We'll come back, and we're going to talk about these NFL coaching hires, rate them from top to bottom. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stick around. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. We're live here on a Monday.
Finding the right local roofing company can be tricky. You don't want to hire the wrong roofers, or you could end up spending a fortune on repairs. The pros at Northeast Roofing Professionals can ensure your home is protected by a strong and sturdy roof. Locally owned and operated, over 30 years experience, free estimates, and competitively priced. Don't settle for an inexperienced roofing contractor. Turn to Northeast Roofing Professionals. Discounts for military and first responders. Reach out and let them put a sturdy roof over your head. NERPCNY.com. NERPCNY.com.
All right, welcome back. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, talking sports with you on a Monday. It's our live show, Boy Green. Let's get to the topic in hand, and that is NFL coaching hires. Never would have thought, Boy Green, that 10 of them, 10 jobs would have become available during this offseason. We knew a couple were there that were going to happen right away. We suspected a few others. I couldn't get myself any higher than 8 teams that I thought would inevitably go for a new coach. It broke the ceiling for me, right through the glass ceiling. And it ended up being 10 teams. So I know one of them is not official yet, but we fully believe that Clint Kubiak is going to be named the Raiders head coach once the Super Bowl is done. So we'll include him on the list with the the caveat, the asterisk that it isn't official yet. Okay.
Yeah, real quick, Lurch. I just need a bit of advice, because you're the professor here, so on this whole grading scale. So apparently we'll do it 1 to 10, 10 being a home run hire, 1 being a terrible hire. Any advice, any tips from one professor to one faking to be one like it's Halloween here as I'm grading these things? Any advice I head into this process to do this job?
Well, I mean, we haven't set criteria, but I'll tell you how I'm thinking.
Okay. All right.
Number one, I'm thinking about, is there any head coaching or level of coaching experience as a factor? I am absolutely considering the roster that said coach is inheriting. All right. I even am tertiarily, since several of these guys have been hired in some cases for a couple of weeks. All right. What kind of staff they've already put together and how that staff might benefit them going forward. So I think I've put all that in the blender. And as you know, this is a bit of a crapshoot, especially when we're talking about some of these OCs and DCs who have never had a head coach. We don't know for sure what kind of leader of men they're going to be at the highest level, being the head guy, being the CEO. All right. And there are some guys that we do know. We have seen them be a CEO before. And the question is, do we think they were good CEOs? Are they going to be a good fit for this organization? So on and so forth. So I think you got to put that all in the blender.
Okay.
When you come up with your grades.
Understood. All right. You tell us where we're going to start.
Let's come to the New York teams last. So we'll get to Giants and Bills at the end, since we generally butter our bread with the 3 New York teams, the Giants, Jets, and Bills. Unfortunately for you, there is no Jets head coach to talk about. You wish that there was a Jet.
Some fans do.
Situation. Many fans do, right? You don't, but many fans do believe. Like, why can't the Jets be part of this list? But they're not. We could have got it to 11. It could have been possible. And with crazy Woody Johnson, who the heck knows, man? Like a week before the draft, we could see a change. Who knows? That thing's never done until it's done. All right. I'm going to pick a random one here.
Okay,
We'll start with that one. Let's go with the Tennessee Titans. They had the #1 overall draft pick last year. They hired, as you see on the screen, Robert Saleh as their head coach, former Jet head coach. He's taken a little respite, went out and re-established himself a bit as the defensive coordinator for the second time with the San Francisco 49ers. Grade Saleh and tell me why.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 7 here. Now, again, as we go through this process, everything you just explained, I'm heeding your advice you gave.
Wow.
Some of these guys, right, like Clint Kubiak, he's expected to be the guy. We don't know anyone on his staff, so that's a pro and a con.
Sure.
It's pro because, as you'll hear on some of these other names on this list, they've hired some people that I'm like, what? Which is going to that's going to take away the grade. But some people are going to hire people like Robert Saleh.
Sure.
Getting Brian Dable as the yin to his yang, the salt to his pepper, the mac to his cheese, I think was absolutely paramount. And we'll get to, another guy on this list that Robert Saleh once hired with the Jets that now is breaking off on his own to be a head coach. Yeah, I think the Brian Dable hire is huge here. Cam Ward, the former #1 overall pick, he is the crown jewel of this. His development and his evolution will take this team to heights or take them down to the doldrums. Robert Saleh is a retread. He obviously failed in New York. He's been a great defensive mind in San Francisco, and even with the Jets, he did very well as a defensive coordinator. But to me, the thing that just revs my engine the most is, first off, he should learn He should learn from his mistakes from New York, and you would think that he would be better. And Brian Dable, that hire of getting an experienced offensive guy that's worked with guys like Josh Allen, should really excite Titans fans for Cam Ward. So I'm giving this a big, fat, juicy 7.
Well, you and I are not close on this one, Boy Green.
Boy.
I have graded Robert Saleh a 3, okay? And here's my rationale behind the 3.
Geez.
Number one, what has he done to deserve another job? He was awful with the Jets.
Wow.
And if you don't mind, dare I say, living in TMZ world a little bit, that dirty laundry still stinks, Boy Green. And some of it's still hanging on the line and smells like mold and musty out there. I mean, Robert Saleh, as CEO of the Jets, was not, when it was all said and done, and now that we've heard the aftermath of it all, it was messy. It was money. I thought this guy was going to come into New York and be a great leader of men. What I've come to find out now that all the dirt is out there is that he really didn't seem to know what he was doing, that he really didn't clean up a lot of things, that he let a lot of guys kind of do their own thing without keeping discipline at the front of this all. And let's not forget, the Jets went out of their way to bring in people that Saleh wanted in the free agency world, at the quarterback, with all these things. They were literally saying, we think we've got a roster, and if you just put a few more pieces, we can be, Super Bowl bound or certainly playoff bound. Well, they never got close to that. And to me, there was just a lot of dirty laundry left behind. Now he moves into a Tennessee situation where, okay, you could argue maybe he has a franchise quarterback. Maybe. I don't think Cam Ward proved anything to me last year that he's the next coming. As a matter of fact, I'd feel more comfortable right now with Jackson Dart as my quarterback than I would Cam Ward. Okay? That's just my take.
Whoa,
I'm a Giants fan, so people will say I'm biased, but I try to keep that bias out and just look at the player and what I've seen on the field. And from what I've seen on the field of play, I like what Dart presented to me here in year one more than I like what Cam Ward presented. All right. And I think we could argue that both had lousy rosters around them. I mean, that giant receiving core, especially once Neighbors went down. Are you kidding me? Okay. Dart is operating without Neighbors his entire time as starter when it finally gets handed to him, thanks to Brian Dable in desperation. All right. And I thought he did a pretty darn good job, even though it didn't amount to a lot of wins. So I just think Saleh's got a tough road there in Tennessee. He didn't show me anything with the Jets. So is he going to be successful? I could be dead wrong because these things are all a bit of a crapshoot, but I just don't see it in Tennessee. So Robert Saleh for me. 1, 2, 3.
So first thing, for folks, you can grade it however you want in the audience, but just to reiterate our grading scale, we're going to be doing it on a scale of 1 to 10, not A plus B, C, D, E, F. But you guys can rate it however you want, and I love that you guys are doing this live with us. Manchild, you're an idiot. Boy Green, you're an idiot. I love it. So keep the live commentary going. That's terrific. I'll just follow up here on Saleh and just say, the market in Tennessee should be a lot quieter than the market in New York in terms of what he was facing, and apparently that constant New York front page radio shows and everything got to Robert Saleh. I hope it doesn't get to him as much in Tennessee.
So the pressure gets to a guy in a big market, and you say, well, now he'll be in a little market, therefore the pressure will be. There's pressure everywhere, by the way.
Sure.
Okay? So for all those reasons, I think I'm on the mark, actually, with Saleh. You got him for a 7, you said? Wow. Yeah. That's woohoo. There aren't even going to be that many guys on my list that make it all the way to 7.
Wow, you must really hate Brian Dable. You don't like the Brian Dable combination hire? That's huge.
No, I really don't.
Wow. Oof. Okay. Next.
Brian Dable showed me very little as Giants head coach, and very much like Saleh, left a mess behind to be cleaned up. And hopefully Sheriff Harbaugh will get it done.
We'll get to that later. Yeah.
A little bit later. All right, let's jump to the next one, Boy Green. How about the Ravens? Okay, so the Ravens lose John Harbaugh, and they jump in with Jesse Minter, the DC, who spent some time with Jim Harbaugh, the brother, at Michigan, and then came to the pros and has been sharing some space out there as the defensive coordinator of the LA Chargers. Minter was a guy when there weren't the Stefanskis and the Harbaughs available, and the Giants, of course, were one of the first teams to be out there looking for a coach because they let go of Brian Dable midstream, that I was like, a defensive guy would be maybe a nice change here for the Giants, considering what we've been recently. Minter seems to have a nice pedigree. I think either Harbaugh brother are pretty good developing coaches, so maybe he could be ripe for a job. And I was kind of, dare I say, lukewarm at the idea that if the Giants did pull the trigger and hire Jesse Minter, that I would have been okay with it. Would I have been thrilled? No, but I would have been okay with it. So that's kind of where I stand. In terms of grade, Boy Green, because, as I said, I would have been a little lukewarm if he was hired by the Giants. I think I got to look at him the same way with the Ravens. He does inherit a really good roster. He's got to make sure he puts a nice OC as a complimentary guy alongside him to make sure that they keep Lamar Jackson in the mix. Have they hired an OC yet?
They did. Declan Doyle.
That's right. I saw that over the weekend.
Yeah, he's 29 years of age. He's the same age as Lamar Jackson, but he comes from the Bears and Ben Johnson, where he did great work with Caleb Williams last year. So, yes, Declan Doyle has been hired.
That sounds like a scary hire. Number one, insanely young and lacking experience. Number two, wasn't calling the plays, because we all know Ben Johnson, just like Mike McVay, calls the plays for their teams. So I don't love that either. You got a guy that hasn't been a play caller at the highest level, and he's 29.
Yes.
All right, Jesse Minter rolling the dice, but just on his pedigree primarily, I'm going to go with a 6 for Jesse Minter as a hire of the Ravens. Where do you stand on Jesse Minter?
So Jesse's an interesting guy. We heard a little bit about him last year. He's 42 years of age. He's been coaching football for 20 years. He's never been a head coach at any level, from high school to college, anywhere. So he's been all over the place, from Notre Dame to Indiana State to the NFL level, back to college. He's bounced back and forth over the years. He's intriguing. He's young. It's a upside shot, similar to Harbaugh in a lot of ways. John was a special teams coordinator and got his shot, and they were right. Do they just sort of have the temperature? Some teams just sort of have it. Packers, right? Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, they just sort of have the right thing that they're looking for, and they can keep finding it. Do they do it here in Baltimore? Maybe, but I'm at a 5 on Jesse Minter. Okay. I would have preferred an offensive coach, to be honest, to really galvanize Lamar Jackson. And obviously, you're getting a defensive mind in here in Jesse Minter. Maybe Declan Doyle can be that yin to the yang of that situation. This is risky. He's an Indiana kid. He was born in Arkansas and has just been sort of in the Midwest out there. I'm not sure. I think this is a little bit too much risk. And I don't love there's some risk you can take that I love the upside. Here I don't. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a 5.
Okay, I think we're on the same page. And what I don't get about this hire for Baltimore is, so they leave Harbaugh. Okay, they say, this is getting stale. The message is stale. Right. He's been greatly successful here, but it's just time for a new era of football. And then they hire a Harbaugh-esque guy. I mean, this guy, I know it's from his brother's tree, but there's a lot of similarity between the two Harbaughs. And Minter, again, it's a Harbaugh guy. So I don't really letting go of the great Harbaugh for a guy that's like a disciple of the other Harbaugh, and you think he's going to return you to greatness. And he's a defensive mind, by the way, too. Interesting.
Hey, just to make this clear, he's actually a disciple of both Harbaughs. He's worked for John and Jim
I didn't even know that,
previously.
sir.
Yes,
Right.
previously Jesse
So
Minter.
there you have it. I mean, I
Yes.
don't get it. It's apples and apples. I mean, I thought
Yeah.
we were going for, a coconut here or something. I guess not.
Right. Yeah, he worked with John Harbaugh with the Ravens from 2017 to 2020. Went back to college, Vanderbilt, Michigan, then came back with the other Harbaugh brother and Jim. So he has worked for both, and he was originally with John. So to your point, even more of Harbaugh disciple. So yeah, that is an odd choice.
All right, let's go next to the Miami Dolphins, Boy Green. They hired themselves a new coach. I told you they were going to let go of what's McDaniels, and they finally did. They waited it out. First, they had fired the GM, as we know, prior, and we all thought he was secure, and all the talk out of Miami was he's secure. And I was like, he's still on my list over there. He's still one of the deadly 8. And then sure enough, check. They did jettison him off, and we know now he's an OC out on the West Coast. But let's talk about who they hired, a guy that the Giants early on, again, were talking about because some of these big names were not yet available. And their head coach is Jeff Hafley, who has the history with Boston College as a head coach at the college level. So at least he's been a head coach. But a guy that is an interesting defensive mind. He comes directly from the Green Bay Packers tree now. Give me your thoughts and a grade on Jeff Hafley.
Refresh my memory here, Lurch. We're allowed to grade on a scale of what to what?
1 to 10, my friend.
I'm going to go with a -3 on this one for Jeff Hafley. There is a lot that I don't like here about this. Number one, again, I said sometimes it's going to help you and hurt you, right? Robert Saleh hired Brian Daboll. That added a bunch of points to me for Saleh. But sometimes you can hire someone that detracts points. He hired Nathaniel Hackett as his quarterbacks coach, the Syracuse Brethren, Jets Brethren. No, but he's been all over the place, including with the Packers, where Jeff Hafley and Hackett had slumber parties, I'm sure. You trust Nathaniel Hackett to help with this quarterback room? Oh, that's disgusting. I mean,
disgusting.
They're doing the Miami Packer thing, the Green Bay Dolphins, bringing over John Eric Sullivan, Jeff Hafley, all the Packers boys are coming over there. I'm totally uninspired. I couldn't believe when Jeff Hafley, like in the middle of the night, left Boston College and jumped to the NFL level. 2 years later, he's immediately an NFL head coach. Like, I don't know, man. I know he's 46. I've just been coaching a long time, but that's sort of like seismic, just boop, 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 boop. Jump from he was the Boston. Let me make sure I get the year right. He was the Boston College head coach in 2023. 3 years later, he's the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. What the? Sometimes it works. We've seen seismic college jumps, right? Jimmy Johnson, successful in college, great success in the pros. But there's been Chip Kelly's too, folks, where there's been college and then the pros. And to be perfectly blunt, like, Jeff Hafley wasn't even Chip Kelly in college. He was at Boston College. He was just fine. It wasn't transcendent. It wasn't national championship. It wasn't anything crazy like that. So he's sort of mediocre in college, and now he's the NFL head coach. I don't know, man. I've got a lot of questions.
He doesn't know. I don't know either. I'll tell you, BG. I'm kind of with you on Hafley. I can't go into the negatives, obviously, but he's one of my lowest grades. He is tied for second lowest on my list.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I gave him a 2 for the Miami Dolphins, and really after the hire of Hackett, I should probably lower him to a 1.
That's true.
But I just think there's someone even worse that got hired in the last couple of weeks.
Boy,
so we'll get to that guy in just a little bit. So we're on board with Jeff Hafley very similarly. What'd you end up giving him? What was your grade?
-5.
-5. You went into the negatives. I won't do that, but I'm giving him one of my lowest grades, a 2.
Okay.
All right, up next, let's go to Pittsburgh, Steel City. Mike
my.
Tomlin doesn't get fired. Mike Tomlin makes a decision. He's going to walk away at this point.
Right.
Too much noise. Going to take a year off, maybe do a little television, decide if he wants to be a head coach at the NFL level again. And the Steelers, who are looking at all kinds of young bucks, or looking at all kinds of dynamic guys, they have a history of hiring young guys and then keeping them in a position forever. We know the history of Pittsburgh, the lack of coaches that they've hired over the years. They stick with their guys. They usually choose very wisely. Well, they went away from their script here. But they did go with a guy who is a Pittsburgh native, a guy who has ties to the region, a guy who grew up in Pittsburgh, and that's a guy who has a Super Bowl ring. And that's Mike McCarthy, who won that ring with the Green Bay Packers many, many years ago with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. And guess what? Maybe he can convince Aaron to push that son back up in the sky one more time, Boy Green, and be his quarterback for one more season. I don't think that would be a wise choice, but we are hearing some rumblings about that. Mike McCarthy, Steelers head coach. You want to go first on this one? You want me to go first?
Well, I guess technically you're the Pittsburgh guy, so it'd be rude for me to jump in front of you.
I will go first on this one. So I was shocked by this hire, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
Other than I did know he had the Pittsburgh roots, and I did know that that was one of the reasons why he was getting an interview. He was getting a look.
Sure.
Upon further notice, I've kind of, dare I say, leveled a little bit with Mike McCarthy. Because of as a Giants fan, he gets jettisoned out by Jerry Jones out of the Cowboys, and there were even rumors the Giants might take a look. And I was like, please, no, he's the plague, he's a disease. We don't want a rejected Dallas Cowboy guy becoming our next head coach at this very, very pivotal time in our life in the NFL. But I've had a chance to kind of simmer on McCarthy. I've had a chance to listen to some what I feel are more unbiased views about him and what he's done as a coach. And it wasn't all bad in Dallas. I mean, I think he actually did some good things in Dallas. Sure. Now, he was a bad game manager at times with the bad timeouts or the using up of the timeouts or the not using of timeouts. There was some game management issues there. But in terms of what he put together and the amount of winning they did while he was there, actually, it's not all that bad. So I'm going to go right down the middle on this one, Boy Green. The Steelers are a good organization, but I just don't know if McCarthy's still got it. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's got a ring on one of those fingers. I'm going to say Mike McCarthy is a 5 as a head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where do you stand?
Hey, by the way, I'll highlight this as we're going through it and make sure in the comments section, you guys let us know your grades, what you would do, whether it's A plus B, A, B, C, D, E, or F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. If it's one of those or a number, I'll highlight them. Jets Johnny says Mike is a 3.
Okay, I think that's fair. You could go that low with a guy like Mike McCarthy.
That kid did it. It's a 5 for me on Mike. Okay, there you go.
Me and that kid are exactly on the same page.
Yeah, I would say this on McCarthy as I'm spitting out my grade here. This surprised me. Same as you. Like, if you look at Pittsburgh's history, they have taken young defensive guys. So they took an old offensive guy. Like, it was just a zig to their zag that they have never done before. But to be candid, they've had 3 head coaches in 75 years. So there's not a lot of track record or sample size to sort of judge what they're looking for. I'm going to be honest. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm giving Mike McCarthy an 8.
Wow, Boy Green, out of the ballpark for McCarthy. Wow.
And I'm going to be honest, it surprises me that I even say that because, on Mike McCarthy...
Hold on, I need to have another sip of my beer.
Yeah, there you go. Obviously, that only makes sense. Yeah, he's 62 years old.
Did you just say 8 for Mike McCarthy?
I did. It's sort of... How can you not be touched about the story? And he got emotional talking about it as an introductory press conference. He was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He went to high school in Homestead, Pennsylvania. Like, his father owned a bar in Pittsburgh.
New York roots. I wouldn't have been screaming from the rooftops that he's an 8 for my Giants if they hired him.
I think that Mike McCarthy, if you look at the stats, is one of the most disrespected coaches out there. Like, look at these numbers that Mike McCarthy has. He has a Super Bowl ring. He has a 600 winning percentage as a coach. In the playoffs, he's won 11 playoff games in his career. You look at all the Nuggets, you compare that to John Harbaugh, their resumes are very similar. 600 winning percentage, Super Bowl ring on their finger, but for some reason, we perceive Harbaugh in one way, we perceive McCarthy in another. Why? I'm not sure. He's won multiple 12-win seasons. He's had a ton of success. I'm not sure why we all look at him sideways, but I have to stop looking at him sideways and say, hey, let's see what's going to happen here in Pittsburgh. He's a Pittsburgh guy through his roots. They're going to give him time. Look at every other coach. This isn't like they're going to hire McCarthy and fire him tomorrow. They're a committed, loyal organization.
And will they be this time around? He's got no QB, Paul. He's got
Aaron Rodgers is coming back. I think Aaron Rodgers is coming back.
Who cares? It's like having no QB. I mean,
well, you need a plan. There's no question, right? They have Will Howard, who was a 6th-round pick, and he's okay out of Ohio State. But I mean, they need a long-term answer.
Get lucky in the draft, they'd have to get lucky.
And they pick late all the time, so it's very difficult to get lucky. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what got into me, but yeah, I'm going to go with an 8 here.
Yeah, I think he's a fairly safe pick for the Steelers.
Sure, that's a good.
But I am concerned about what kind of roster he's going to have. Although I will say that the Steelers are a great organization and they usually figure it out. So let's see if they keep figuring it out.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Keep it simple. Says exactly right.
Yeah, right, McCarthy's the safe pick. Uninspiring. She'll go to the prom with you, but you can't get her to the hotel. Wow,
I love
that's
that. Great one. Good Good one. Keep it simple. Very nice. Very nice. Good analyzation. All right, Boy Green, off of McCarthy, and let's go to the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it's your boy.
Yes,
Head coach
Mikey.
Mike LaFleur, once offensive coordinator of the New York Jets. Boy Green, I'll let you go first on this one.
Again, the same thing that, 3 years ago, he gets fired. 3 years later, he's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. What in the name of everything that's holy? I mean, this is stunning. Now, I heard from Connor Hughes like 2 weeks ago that Mike LaFleur was the leading candidate, but I guess I didn't take it seriously. And then as they were waiting, it sounded like the Cardinals wanted Clint Kubiak. And when Kubiak chose the Raiders, the Cardinals went, oh, we got to pivot to Mike LaFleur. He was always the guy. He obviously has a great last name. His older brother, Matt LaFleur, is a wildly successful coach with the Green Bay Packers. They're swinging for upside. This guy's 38 years old. Like, he's just such a young buck. It's an upside swing. It's an offensive league. Boy, I'm going to have to go with a 3 on this one. Speaking of no quarterback, they're going to have to eat Kyler Murray's contract. Jacoby Brissett, who knows if he's a fit with Mike LaFleur. Maybe he tries to go get Jimmy Garoppolo with the Rams, who's his backup, but that's not inspiring. So the roster's a mess. Mike LaFleur is a young guppy. We'll see how much time they give him to sort of figure out being an NFL head coach before. Yeah, man, very risky, and I'm not sure I would have made that risk. So, I'm going to go with a 3.
3. Okay. Boy Green, he is numero uno on my lowest.
I was about to say, wow. Oh, my goodness.
Mike LaFleur for me is a 1. I think this is a higher based on a last name.
Oof.
I don't see the high level of success, even as an assistant, that I'd like to see in my next head coach. I understand he's a very young guy. He's got time to grow. That roster, they're probably a team without a quarterback. I don't know whether they're keeping Kyler Murray or not. If they have him, I guess you got a quarterback, but he's an unorthodox quarterback that you got to build a specific system for. And if they jettison him, as many think they will, then he's starting all over again. What do they have? The 3rd pick in the draft, right? Are they number 3 right behind?
No, 1 second. I'll have it in front of me. 1 second.
But I mean, I don't know, man.
Yes, they do have 3. You're right. You're right.
Okay.
3.
So that is a roster bereft of talent right now. They've got a quarterback situation, and then you bring in an 38-year-old, completely inexperienced head coach. I just don't see it going well in Arizona. It didn't go well with Gannon. I don't think it's going to go well with LaFleur. I think this is actually a bad job by LaFleur taking this job. I think he would have been better served waiting another year and trying to find a better job, because I do think, and we're finding out this more and more with these coaching hires, dare I say, being a bit more picky, making sure that you have a roster and assets in place where you can build your team is becoming more and more important to these coaches, because they understand I might swing and miss once and never get another chance. Let me make sure I cash in here on my first chance. Now, some will. Salah's a perfect example. Didn't go well, and they gave him another chance right away. I don't know why he's getting that chance so quickly, but he is. He's done something out there to impress some of the owners out there in terms of what he can offer as a head coach. Maybe it was just the fact that it's the Jets. I don't know. But whatever the case, there's nothing here that I've seen so far that makes me say Mike LaFleur is going to be a successful head coach. And now you're asking him to do it in an organization that's kind of a disaster. I see it as a disaster. He's the worst rated guy of the hires this hiring season for me. I give Mike LaFleur a 1.
Yeah, I will say this. I think there's 2 schools of thought here on what you just said about being picky. Some people can afford to be picky. Ben Johnson was picky for years, looking at the availabilities going, nah, I'm good. And he knows in his heart of hearts, I could get a job whatever the hell I want to. And there are others that are like, I don't know if I'm ever getting a shot. We'll get to another guy on this list that took the Cleveland Browns job that I think he thought to himself, this is my only chance to be a head coach, so I will do it. Like, LaFleur has the last name, so that helps. He's an offensive guy. I don't know if he always gets a shot. The Cardinals were desperate, and for Mike LaFleur, you never know if you ever get one of these shots. I bring up Brian Schottenheimer, the Dallas Cowboys last year. He had head coaching interviews when he was with the Jets, and he declined them, and then things went south with the Jets. He gets fired, and he ended up getting a chance like 12 years later to finally get his shot. And he said, holy crap, I thought I missed the opportunity. So I think that's the danger sometimes of waiting and assuming you're going to get it. And by the way, someone else asked earlier in the chat, let me just throw this up here on the chin. I don't see where it was, so I'll grab it in a second. But they asked, what are we grading, the hiring or the situation? And to me, I think it's both. You're sort of evaluating, as Lurch mentioned earlier, I think we're evaluating the whole picture here as that pertains to it. Right.
So the criteria is, we didn't set up a criteria, but I told Boy Green at the beginning of this segment what I was thinking, and it's a lot of things. In some cases, I have more information, like who they've already hired as their DC,
right? Their staff, right? Correct.
In some cases, I have less information. I mean, like, what do we have on Clint Kubiak? We're gonna have to give him a
or
grade.
LaFleur. LaFleur was hired yesterday. I have no idea who else is coming. Yeah.
So then you just have to go on, history and what you think of the guy. That's just simply the way it goes. So that's the way we're grading today. Maybe we do this down the road again, maybe in training camp and something like that. And maybe our grades change slightly. Maybe we see something that we didn't see now. We shall see. All right. So Mike LaFleur is in the books. We're both low. I'm a little lower than you on that one. All right. Let's go next. You mentioned them, the Cleveland Browns, who stole our offensive coordinator, for crying out loud. The Giants wanted Todd Monken to come in and help John Harbaugh and create continuity with Jackson Dart, and now New York searching and shaking trees to try and figure out who their next OC is going to be. But he did get one of the last jobs available, and Monken, indeed, in a very, very shaky organization known as the Cleveland Browns, will get the chance to do this job. You want to go first or second on this one, PG?
Yeah, I'll go first. And I'm sure from how you, again, I don't know what any of your grades are. You did them privately, but how you talked about this man earlier, I think I know where you're going to go, and I'm going in a different direction. I really like Todd Monken. He was very much in the running for the Jets head coaching job back in 2019. He lost out to Adam Gase. Yippee! That worked out great. He missed out on that. He's never been a head coach before, but goodness gracious. I mean, his resume is wildly impressive. When he went back down to a quick dip back into the college ranks, he won back-to-back national championships with Stetson Bennett at quarterback. With the Ravens, he got Lamar Jackson to an MVP, which was terrific. Man, he has just done great work with a variety of quarterbacks, which revved my engine in the past and continues to rev it now, that I'm curious what he could do with Pro Bowl quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Lurch. Pro Bowl quarterback Shedeur Sanders. What a piece of clay that he has to work with there in Shedeur. But, it's a very tough situation, and I think Todd sort of realized at 59 years of age, I don't know how many chances I'm going to get, and Cleveland's offering me this. I need to take it and make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what. So I love his offensive background. I love his veteranship. He's been around forever. And we'll see what he can do again with Shedeur, and having the 6th overall pick, no clear path to getting a quarterback unless something changes over the coming months. I'm really excited for Todd. So, yeah, I'm going to give that. Did I give a grade already, Lurch?
Nope, you didn't give the grade
yet. Okay, great. Okay, I didn't want to now change my grade after saying it. I have it here. But I'm going to give him a nice 6.
6. Okay, 6 for Todd Monken for Boy Green. I mean, we're not way off Boy Green.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. I like his level of experience. I like how he has developed players, including Lamar Jackson. It is not easy to build an offense that's going to work for a guy like that, and I think he was pretty successful in doing that, so he deserves some kudos there. Also, I think he was sitting behind a guy who's had a very, very impressive run with the Ravens before he was jettisoned off this offseason and now is head coach of the Giants. I think that there is something to be said about learning and being an apprentice of a guy who knows how to do it from a CEO level. So I think that's going to give Todd Monken an advantage. The problem here, Boy Green, and the reason I could not pass the Mendoza line of 5 with a guy like Monken is just simply because it's the Cleveland Browns. So one positive, he's going to have a great defense, and he's running the offense, so that's pretty good. He gets a competent defensive coordinator. He doesn't have to worry about that side of the ball. We're rock solid over there, potentially.
The Jim Schwartz situation with some drama there.
Good point. All right. But if he gets the guy that he needs over there, I mean, they have the personnel to be a good defense again. They were already won this past season, despite all their problems on the other side of the ball. I think that's a good start for a guy. But I also, again, lack of experience as a head coach, knowing it's the Cleveland Browns and they always find ways to wreck it, and their quarterback situation, let's face it, you want to talk about all
Pro Bowl quarterbacks. Come on.
All right. They need a quarterback. They don't know what they're doing. They got two guys. They're already talking about jettisoning off one of those two guys and figuring it out. Like, why did they draft two guys? That's the Browns being the Browns. And guess what? The Browns keep on browning. Just like, everybody says the Chargers keep on charging.
Charging,
right?
yeah.
The Browns keep on charging. The Browns keep on browning. That's my new thing. Sorry, missed that one. So because of that, I can't go above 4 for Todd Monken. So I'm going to go 4 for Todd Monken because it's the Browns. And because the quarterback situation is kind of a disaster right now.
Okay, Lurch, real quick, I want to call you to the stand, if I may.
Okay. Call me to the stand. I
Here
raise
it
my
is.
right hand, and yes,
Lurch,
I swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Go ahead.
you're a professor at many colleges,
Yes.
and I must ask,
Hmm.
did this grade at all get affected by the fact that this guy was supposed to be your offensive coordinator, and now he skipped out on town to be the Browns head coach?
Definitely
I
not.
need your Boy Scout honor, young man, that didn't affect your grades, because I have a slight feeling there's some saltiness happening here as the Giants are looking for their OC, and apparently Todd Monken was their top choice, according to insiders.
Yeah. No is the answer to that question. I'm not close enough to the situation in Baltimore over the years with Todd Monken. I thought he was a pretty competent OC. I thought he did some good things. I think he deserves credit for some things. And I didn't realize how much experience he has when Harbaugh was talking about perhaps bringing him in as the next OC of the Giants. So I think that helped me rethink it a little bit. But I still think my grade with the Browns is just basically based on quarterback situation, organization, and then what is Todd Monken going to do? He's going to have to find somebody, obviously, to run that defense, especially if Schwartz does step away from the apparent 2 more years that he has on that deal. But you're not going to keep a DC that doesn't want to be there. So I don't know, unless he's already gone in there and talked with Schwartz and has said things to him that have reassured him that, we can still work together, It's hard, man. The guy just got passed over. I mean, that's not hard to sit in. I've been in that situation myself before. That's not a good place to be. So if Jim Schwartz doesn't honor that contract and they let him go, that probably is the right move for Cleveland to make, despite the fact that I think he's a terrific defensive coordinator. Terrific. And deserves, frankly, another head coaching job. And I think deserves much more than some of the guys that ended up with these jobs. So just surprising they went that direction. But I still got to stick to my 4 with Todd Monken, and I would say it is not Giants biased. That's my answer to your question. Long-winded answer to a simple question. There you go.
But I would just say this real quick on Schwartz. I feel for him. Apparently, he was really beat up. He dropped F words. He in a very quick hurry packed up his entire office, even though he's under contract. And according to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, the only thing he left in his office was one last can of Coke and his mini fridge. Everything else he took in a box and screamed walking out of the building. But look at the moves of other NFL teams, Lurch. They're not waiting for Jim Schwartz. The 49ers over the weekend hired Raheem Morris. They're like, we can't wait for this situation. Schwartz under contract. Who knows if he's ever gone? We got to get a coach while we can. And a lot of those hires are getting scooped up. So defensive coordinator vacancies are disappearing. So even if the Browns were to let him go, he may not have anywhere to go. So I think what's going to happen here is cooler heads will prevail. I think Monken's going to come to him and say, it sucks that you got passed over. It's not my fault. They chose to hire me. I don't know. But we'd love for you to stay here. He's under contract. And if the Browns really force the peg here, hey, Schwartz, you're the coaching for us or you're retiring. So pick. And, they could pull that card.
Okay, fair enough. But I do think that there's a possibility if he gets the right DC, but it's still the Browns. So I can't go above 5. I has to be below 5 because it's the Browns.
Jets Johnny is at a 2 on Monk.
There you go. Johnny's kind of on board with me.
That's
staying on the other side of 5.
Okay, that kid, it likes my 6. Thank you very much. Okay, there you go. Some love there. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it rolling.
All right. We're going to find out how many of these we're right about and how many we're wrong about.
That's
all right.
sure.
Let's go to the guy who left the Browns. Let's go to the Atlanta Falcons, where Kevin Stefanski was named head coach. Jettisoned off by the Browns, put out there. A lot of people think with all the situations that he dealt with in Cleveland, that he is a much better coach than he showed, although he is a guy in 6 years that turned out 2 Coach of the Year awards, which only go to one coach every single year. That's kind of impressive if you like awards. Now, what did he do in the playoffs? What did he do in terms of quarterback development? What did he do in other areas? You could scratch your head like I am a little bit and wonder. But I do think, for me, Boy Green, back to the Browns browning, I think that Stefanski gets out of a very dysfunctional organization. And I don't know that it's all so great in Atlanta, but I do know one thing, that Arthur Blank will give him resources, that Arthur Blank will stay out of the way when he needs to if Kevin Stefanski is doing a good job. And I think for that reason, I have to go 7 on the Stefanski hire. I'm not sure about it. I'm not banking on it being a raving success, but I think it points the Falcons at the very least in the right direction. And they do have a great running back in Bijan Robinson. I know their quarterback situation is a little muddy. They're going to have to make decisions about whether the oft-injured Penix is really their QB. Right? Rumors, nothing's official yet with Kirk Cousins, right? But a lot of rumors in the last few days that they may be letting Kirk Cousins go. Nothing official. We'll see where that goes, what that means for your Jets. Will they go chase him?
Captain Kirk.
So they're a little muddy at the QB position, too, which is going to make things, again, more complicated for a guy like Stefanski. But I still think he's got the moxie, and he's got some really good experience. If you can kind of hold, you can serve a little bit as the Cleveland Browns head coach, I think you get to a place where in Atlanta where the resources are better, where I think ownership is a lot better, and I think he can do better. So I'm going to go 7 for Kevin Stefanski. Where do you land with him?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting case study, and I see you guys are all in the comment section. I'll highlight your grades in a second. This is a complicated one where I feel a certain way about the coach, and now I see the situation he lands in, and I feel a little differently. To be honest, a lot of Jet fans wanted Kevin Stefanski if AG were to be let go this offseason. I'm like, I don't know, guys. He has 8 wins over the last 2 years. Like, we give him all the credit for the coach of the years and just say, all the bad stuff isn't his fault. It's the Browns. Like, yeah. I don't think we could just conveniently put stuff in boxes, but some people do that. So I'm going to give him a grade of exactly the amount of wins he's had the last 2 years. I'm going to give him an 8, and here's why about this situation. Again, sometimes you get the benefit of information, right? Stefanski was one of the first hires that was made. He was able to keep Jeff Ulbrich on a long-term deal. Jeff Ulbrich, for a large part of the season, had the #1 defense in the National Football League. So to know that part of the ball is on lock, Kevin Stefanski is an offensive coach. So his offensive wizardry, in theory, should be balanced by Jeff Ulbrich on that other side. So I love that they were able to keep Ulbrich. You mentioned the offensive talent. Bijan Robinson is exciting. Kyle Pitts is a free agent. Do they franchise tag him? What do they do at tight end? He's coming off a career year. He looked great. Drake London, obviously, is a superstar wide receiver they have. The quarterback situation is a muck.
It's a muck.
Michael Penix Jr. got hurt, so that injury, I imagine, is going to drag into the beginning of this season. Kirk Cousins, to your point about things being official or not official, they made this before Kevin Stefanski was even hired, actually. They made an alteration to Kirk Cousins' contract that basically, long story short, is likely going to force the Falcons to cut Kirk Cousins by the time the new league year gets here in March. Now, they could bring him back after. There is a history between Stefanski and Kirk Cousins from their time in Minnesota. We'll see. But it looks like he is going to hit free agency. So, again, this is sort of that combination here where Stefanski, the guy himself, I felt a certain way, but seeing him in Atlanta with all that firepower, the mix of Jeff Ulbrich, the NFC South stinks. He has a chance, if he turns this around very quickly, to surge from the bottom to the top. Hell, I mean, they were 1 game tie out of going to the playoffs and hosting a playoff game. Raheem Morris, defensive guy, now they're going offense. Zig to zag, pendulum swinging one way to the other in head coaches. So I'm pretty excited for Kevin Stefanski in Atlanta. Yeah, that's an 8. And I see we have, again, a lot of answers here. Jets Johnny's like, the 4 worst defense in Cleveland. Okay, there you go. That kid to it says, a 9. I love a 9. So he throws it in there. So, wow, we've got some C- for Jets Johnny. We have people going all over the place. I see that. That kid to hit 1,000% BG. That's the other reason I rated them that high at the situation. So there you go. Wow, look at that. Atlanta went for one of the worst defenses in the NFL, top 10 in 2025. So there you go.
Fantastic. All right. Please jump in the comments.
Yeah, please.
Also, if you haven't noticed, for those of you joining the room late, and we have memberships now available on the Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, 3 levels. You can get yourself some loyalty badges, some cool emojis by jumping in at the lowest level right there. That we call it the 12th Manchild, and you see it. Here's our cool logo for the 12th Manchild. You can see that right there on my pint glass.
Yeah, let me go full screen for you.
First piece of merch here, and there it is, beautiful 12th Manchild pint glass with the logo. Become part of our growing army of people. And thanks to all of you for supporting us, to getting us to this point where we can offer some special perks for you guys. You could even get a Mookie emoji, who is sitting in an emoji bank on my cute dog.
It's available. If you guys are a member right now on the channel, you can let those emojis fly. Please do so.
As usual, out cold on the floor, about 2 feet away from me, enjoying the show. as usual. I think he just likes the sound of my voice in the background.
Yeah, sure. There you go.
I'll see what
Dulcet
it's all about.
tones.
You know,
Yeah.
Yes, I put him to sleep. Hopefully
Oh,
for all the right
well.
reasons and not the
Yeah,
wrong.
that's a good point. Yeah.
All right, we're off of Kevin Stefanski. We're pretty much in agreement. I went 7. Boy Green went 8. We saw some opinions of others. Let's go to the job that, it's not official yet, but it's going to be filled sooner rather than later. And that's the Las Vegas Raiders, who have hired or are about to hire head coach Clint Kubiak once he finishes up with the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. We'll see how that goes this coming Sunday. But all signs strongly point to the Raiders hiring Kubiak for that final job that's available. Boy Green, I'll let you go first on the youngster, Clint Kubiak. We know the last name, that's for sure.
I was just about to say, the last name we should recognize, Gary Kubiak, is, one of the best coaches of our era that we just don't talk enough about. He is magnificent, and you could go through his entire coaching tree, but that was his father, and now this is Clint, who's 38 years young, super young guy. This, of course, would be his first time as a head coach at the NFL level if he is to get this job as expected. The Raiders have the number 1 overall pick. You would assume that Fernando Mendoza, to the chagrin of Jets fans, unfortunately, will not be available, likely the number 2 overall pick, and thus he will get him here. The last name you recognize. This is an aggressive swing, and man, think about that. Last year, you had Pete Carroll, the oldest NFL head coach in history, to a 38-year-old the next year. Talk about a freaking pendulum swing. That is crazy here for Clint Kubiak. But if you're a team and it's a copycat league, why not pluck the fruit from the ripest tree? And that is the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold, MVP candidate this season for a large chunk of the year before some of the turnovers at the end of the year. Like Clint Kubiak, offense, you have Brock Bowers, you have Ashton Genty. In theory, you add Fernando Mendoza to this group. That's exciting. That's titillating. That's sexy. Again, the first-year head coach, you never know how those guys are going to react. So for Raiders fans out there in the universe, I'm going to give you a 7 for upside. Again, for me, I'd be very nervous about it. People said, fire AG for Kubiak. I'm like, another first-year guy that we don't even know what he is? That makes me very nervous. But for Raiders fans, you have plenty of reasons to be excited. It may flame out entirely, but it's an exciting hire for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, going back to the fact that my team, the Giants, had availability, and we were out there rating. And you go back and look at some of our old videos, some of our short form and mid short form videos. I did a video way back, right around Black Monday, of the coaches, top 5 coaches I wanted for the Giants. Yeah. And Clint Kubiak was very high on that list. And there's a reason for that for me. And that is, if you're going to take a swing at a young guy, I want to take a swing at a young guy that I think, A, has pedigree, and I believe he does. And I think his dad and his history with his dad, I think, lend itself to that. I want to take a guy that's on a team that has shown me that they can do things differently offensively, and I have seen that from the Seahawks this year, including taking Sam Darnold, who many thought would fail, leaving the comfy confines of Kevin O'Connell, who really seemed to kind of get him on track. He's known as a quarterback whisperer. I think O'Connell is a wonderful, wonderful coach. And now, now he's going to go to some foreign coach, some new system, new terminology, and this guy's a young 38-year-old guy who's going to, somehow magnificently keep him on track. Well, guess what he did? He did keep him on track. As a matter of fact, you could say elements of Sam Darnold's game were better this year than they were even when he was with Minnesota. So I think Clint Kubiak has done a wonderful job. And I think if I'm going to take a swing at a young guy, he's the top guy on my list coming out of this coaching cycle. So I wanted him for the Giants. If those other people, if Stefanski hadn't become available, if Harbaugh hadn't become available, he would have been at the very top of my list. Instead, I think he was sitting at 3 on my list, but I like him a lot. I'm going to give him a 7. So you and I are in absolute agreement. This is the first one we landed on the same number.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's easy. The Raiders are never easy. Their ownership is a slippery slope, although it does feel like now that Tom Brady's involved, there's a little more stability. We'll see if they can kind of keep that momentum going. They do have the number 1 overall pick. I am fully 1,000% sure they're going to pick Mendoza. I don't see any way they don't. Somebody offered them an insane windfall. And I still don't even know if you do that. If they believe that this guy is a franchise quarterback, you just never trade away a pick that you believe is a franchise quarterback, no matter what. Doesn't matter what you get. You never trade away a franchise quarterback. Now, will Mendoza be? I don't know. But I do think that he is the shiny metal object. He is the gold ring in this draft. Whether it turns out that way or not, we never know. But I think the Raiders will stay at 1. I think they will take the quarterback they hope of their dreams. And if he does hit, that will really, really help Kubiak hit the ground running and get this thing going in the right direction. So I'm going to give him a 7, although I am always concerned about the Raiders organization and how this is all going to play out. But not as concerned as, say, I would be with the Browns, who had just showed time and time again how the Raiders have been really bad. But it does feel like this group that now seems to have more control, including Tom Brady, very, very strongly involved. It feels like the Raiders are slowly moving in the right direction. And could this be the linchpin? Hiring the right coach, bing. Getting the franchise quarterback, bing. You do those two things, life changes for you as a franchise, and the wins start coming. So we'll see if the Raiders can pull it together. By the way, they still have some other talented players. Brock Bowers will be back on this roster again, and they do have other talented players. So I'm kind of rooting for the Raiders to come out of the doldrums and start to be a relevant franchise. Again, a team that could perhaps at least chase its way into the playoffs. So we'll see how immediately that happens. But I like the Clint Kubiak hire.
A lot of polarizing things. That kid to it, that's a 3 for me on the Raiders. Oof. Jets Johnny, a 6. And if they draft mid-Doza, it's a 3. Oh, my. Wow. Okay. There's some angry people in the audience. That kid did saying they don't have an offensive line. They don't have any wide receivers. Not good. That is true.
It's true.
So,
Absolutely
and interesting. True. Good way to put it. Great coach choice, terrible head coach spot.
That's true.
You thought Clint could have been a little bit more, choosy. If we're talking about choosy, like he picked the Raiders out of all the jobs. I guess we'll see what happens. He must really love Fernando Mendoza, I guess.
Well, let's see. I mean, that's going to be the difference for Kubiak if he can really get moving in the right direction quickly, is if they find the quarterback, and they got to hope that number 1 overall draft pick turns into the quarterback of their dreams. All right, 2 to go, Boy Green, and we saved the locals for last. Let's go to the Bills next. I think much to our surprise, maybe not to others, they decided to let their veteran head coach, Sean McDermott, go. Then they were essentially going to make a search here. They did it all very late because obviously they were on a playoff run themselves, and they didn't have as many choices as others had. Some already had been scooped up. Sure. And so after all this searching, apparently, after a vetted interview process that I'm sure went on for weeks and weeks, not really, they decided to just hire their OC as the head coach. You go first on this one. This will be an intriguing one for us to discuss.
Well, first off, only one of us in the universe had the wherewithal to ask Joe Brady to his face 6 months ago about being an NFL head coach. That person was mocked. That person was ostracized. That person was dissed. But who's laughing now? Yes, Boy Green and Manchild took over Bill's training camp. I was undercover. And there happened to be a joke.
Nobody wanted asked.
100%. You know what? Someone, not all heroes wear capes, folks. That's basically the point of what I'm saying here. Yep. And Joe Brady happened to have a press conference. And I tried to get a question a few times, and I kept getting cut off by the local media. I'm like, damn, I don't think I'm getting a question. I'd be like, and then just that time, I started speaking, and Joe Brady made eye contact with me. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get this question. And I asked him about being an NFL head coach. And Joe Brady, I don't know how many times he's going to do this as a head coach of the Bills, but he punted on my question and didn't answer it. But I have the gall to ask about him being a head coach. And who would have thought 6 months later he's the head coach? I want to highlight this comment from Twitter. Danny in real life, a Buffalo Bills fan, chiming in earlier in the show. He says, I was a 5 on Joe Brady when the news broke, but I was sold on the vision after the presser and the hiring of Pete Carmichael at offensive coordinator and Jim Leonard at DC. I'm now at a 7.5 to an 8 now. We have not broken out the halves yet, Lurch, the decimal points. So perhaps
trying to stick to whole numbers here.
That could happen here.
But I got 10 choices. That's enough choices for me to put a number on.
Yeah, I'll just sort of, and then I'll tell the grade at the end. I'm going to be honest. I was underwhelmed by the hire.
So was I.
Lurch said it beautifully a couple days ago, maybe a week ago. He just thought that the Bills could have done a better job having Josh Allen as the recruiting tool. That they could have, in theory, gotten any coach they wanted outside of 2 that were hired before the job became open. That was your boy John Harbaugh to the Giants and Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons. That ink was dry before the Bills made their choice. So they did not have those options on the table. I'm curious if those 2 would have still been available. Did something different happen in Buffalo? Who knows? But I was underwhelmed by the hire. Joe Brady's a fine young man. But boy, to just promote from within, considering all the Bills' problems and saying, "Oh, this guy, don't worry, guys, this is the guy that's going to be able to solve it." Especially when we heard heat about whether Joe Brady was going to retain his OC job last year. This was underwhelming. But in a similar way that Danny described it, I've been inspired by the hires. Less on Pete Carmichael and more on Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard, I think, is a super bright guy. And in theory, if you could pair Joe Brady's offense with Jim Leonard's high upside on defense and you have Josh Allen, that helps. Having what is still the league reigning MVP before later this week when NFL Honors crowns a new MVP. To me, I think I'm here at a 6. I was at a 5, and then the Jim Leonard bumped me up a point, that hiring at defensive coordinator, and I'm enticed. Let's see what that means for this offseason. The Bills have some problems. They need to get some wide receiver help. They need to get way better on their run defense. Can they get those things done this offseason? We'll see. But I'm at a 6 for Joe Brady.
Well, 2 in a row, Boy Green. We're on the same number. And
wow.
really for the same reasons that you said, I think it would have been a 5, maybe even a 4 for me for Joe Brady. But I like the 2 hires, and that does help. I'm not a big fan of press conferences meaning anything. So right. I know that that commenter also mentioned about the press conference. Press conferences are press conferences. Don't ever be impressed solely by that. I mean, it can be an indication of what kind of leader of men a guy is, how he puts words together. You heard me after the John Harbaugh, press conference say, wow, was I impressed with the way he handled himself at that press conference, the confidence, the ease, the choice of words, the forethought that I think went into almost everything that he had to say. It wasn't just a cliche of, coaching isms. There was actually some real thought given to what he said and some real passion shown in that press conference. And, we saw some of the same things from Joe Brady. So I agree. I was somewhat impressed by the way he got in front of a microphone and handled some difficult and maybe some not so difficult questions. I thought he did a good job. But press conferences are press conferences. Coaching is coaching. I just wonder about this guy. Is he ready for a head coaching job? But I can give him a 6 comfortably because of the hires and the fact that he has not just a quarterback. He has one of the best quarterbacks in football. And that quarterback is going to mask a lot of his deficiencies because he does it for everyone, and he did it for Sean McDermott included as well. I don't understand why the Bills let McDermott done. I think it's going to, in the long run, be a bad decision, but I'm willing to give Brady a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But I can't go any higher than 6 because I'm just not a full believer that he can lead the whole thing. I think he's a very good OC. I think he's proven that, but I want to see what he's like as a head man, and I'm not confident he's going to be a great head man, at least in his first job out of the chute. Maybe down the road, this guy's a good head coach, but I'm not sure if he's a good head coach right now. And the Bills, by the way, need one right now. I mean, their window is closing faster and faster and faster every day. So we'll see where it all goes.
Lurch, you're not willing to go above a 6. No worries, the fans sure are. Jets Johnny, that's a 9 out of 10 for me. A-. That kid to it jumps in. I hate to rate it this high, but I'm at an 8.5 on the Bills, which he's going crazy for. Jets Johnny saying I wanted Joe Brady for the Jets last year. And that kid did, saying I could see Mike Evans going there this offseason. We'll see. There's been some rumors about that. And yes, Iowa Jets will have full coverage on this for Jets, Giants, Bills, and the biggest stories. He said 38-ish days to free agency. Yes, that is in the second week of March. So, yeah, we're a little more than a month away from free agency. So we'll have plenty there for that, which is unbelievable. The cycle spins. We have Combine later this month. So, yeah, we've got a lot of big things coming up. But, yeah, again, I got to reiterate, I'm at a 6. Sorry, Bills Mafia. Try to keep it to you straight.
All right, we've made it to our last coaching hire. I saved perhaps the best for last. The New York Giants go out there and scoop up the fired John Harbaugh, who was jettisoned off by the Baltimore Ravens. I think a shock for a lot of people. It was something that you and me and Ed Valentine, our Giants insider, were talking about for weeks. Ed kept saying week in and week out as we asked him about, where are the Giants in their search? Because remember, they were the first team out there searching. They let go of Brian Dable.
Correct, right.
With many weeks to go in the season. And so we were asking and probing our Giants insider, Ed Valentine, of Big Blue View every week. So you hearing anything? Who do you like? Who might be a good fit? And he would put out his list, the Clint Kubiaks of the world, the other young studs, the Mike McCarthys who were just, collecting dust and could be acquired right away. And then he kept saying over and over again, unless John Harbaugh becomes available. Unless John Harbaugh is out there, then I shift over here. So that was
Which I sort of
Ed's take
scoffed
way back when.
Yeah.
Way back when. And I just kept saying to him, hey, I mean, what? The Ravens are never going to let Harbaugh. He's way too good a coach. They're not going to do that. Come on, Ed. Are you out of your mind? And then it happened. And I was like, did that just happen? And then my immediate impulse was, get on a plane. Lock him up. Don't let him go. Throw away the keys until he says, yes, 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 I will take your franchise. I am not going to let John Harbaugh get away. This guy is the big fish. He's out there. He's swimming through the ocean. Go get him. Get the biggest net you can and scoop him up and hold on to him as tight as you can, because this guy defines to me stability. He defines a high level of year in, year out success. He's a really good CEO, and he's not going to be pushed around by the old curmudgeons. And I think the Giants have had some trouble with their organization in recent years. I think part of it is the failure of from ownership right down through the front office, of being too highly involved in decisions they shouldn't be highly involved in, and then allowing bad decisions to happen. So I don't think John Harbaugh is going to let that happen in New York. Do you want me to give my grade first?
Yes, of course. You're the Giants guy. Well, you have to.
You never know. And with all of these hires, we really don't know how it's all going to turn out. I mean, this is total crystal ball kind of stuff. But there's no way I can walk away and not give John Harbaugh a very, very high grade. I'm not going to go 10. It's too much off the planet. And there is, dare I say, a little bit of dirty laundry coming out of that Ravens job. After all, they didn't make the playoffs this past year with a really talented team. Now, I'd blame it on injuries. I think it had very little to do with Harbaugh. I think there was some indication out of Baltimore that the message wasn't being received as acutely as it was in the earlier years of Harbaugh. But I still think he's a terrific CEO, and I think he's exactly what the Giants need. And sometimes a change of scenery gets a guy right back, gets him back to that energy level and that clip that he was at before. So I have a lot of faith in the guy. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10, Boy Green. I think it is a monster, big hire for the New York Football Giants, and we'll see, can he get this franchise back on track. I love the hire of John Harbaugh. I haven't been hiding that, so I don't think you're very surprised. Maybe you're surprised I didn't give him a 10, but I'm going to stick with a 9 because I always think there is a little bit of room for error in a situation like this. But I think he's the guy that's going to get us back. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to push back. I don't think there is room for error here. The Giants hit a home run. This is a 12. I'm breaking the scale of going negative one way for another coach and the other way for this one. This was an absolute home run hire. I give the 12 for a lot of reasons. The aggressiveness of the Giants. They realized, wow, this is a fish that does not swim in these waters often. We have a vacancy. This fish is available. We need to go get that fish. When there were comments like Harbaugh's like, yeah, I'm going to take the weekend and think about it. I want to marinate. The Giants said, no, we'll fly to you. Boom. Fly to his house. Get there first. Conversations. There was just intimate, deep dive chats where they said, Harbaugh, we're going to make this as blunt as possible. We're going to hit you over the head with how much we love you, how much we want you, how much we envision you in the blue. New York Football Giants, they see it all. They went all in. Now, could it fail? Of course it could fail, but this is on the hire. This is on everything and all the pieces getting together here. And they went all in for a Super Bowl winning coach as a 600 winning percentage. Yes, to your point, were there some bugaboos? Of course. If there weren't, then he wouldn't have been fired in the first place. So there is some leftover action for that. But I think he's galvanized the Giants fan base. Everyone loves making fun of the Jets. We're the human punching bag. Last 15 years have sucked. But if you put the Giants and the Jets together over the last 15-year span, the Giants have been in the playoffs, twice in the last 15 years before that Super Bowl that they had? So, they've been just as terrible, if not worse, than the Jets over the same span of time. And now they needed someone, a caped crusader, to hoist this team from the darkness and bring them into the light. The night is darkest before the dawn. And now Harbaugh is your hero of choice. Now, here's the thing, right? We talked about it earlier. Todd Monken, he was supposed to be the guy. Harbaugh wanted Monken so bad that he almost got fired over the Monken. He might as well have gotten fired over the Monken decision for retaining members of his staff in Baltimore. Monken goes to Cleveland. Now what? Now, there's some recent rumors that the Giants are swimming in the waters of Cliff Kingsbury. That excites me.
Yes,
That's a name.
That was the guy that I was like, here's a guy that's still out there that I think could actually really help right away.
Like Brian Callahan, I'm sort of mid on.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't love that one.
On him.
But Cliff, like, look what he did with Jaden Daniels. And now you envision that sort of seismic thing for Jackson Dart. So that's an exciting name. They've talked to some names I'm like, ooh. But Cliff is one that I feel really good about. So we're at a 12. This could be a 15 if they're able to lure Cliff Kingsbury in here. So, yes, Lurch, you should be elated. I hate to say that because, screw your Giants. It's Jets, Giants. We're always competing against each other for everything. But in all seriousness, I mean, you as a Giants person should be absolutely elated here, over the moon. And let's see if Harbaugh can have that sort of franchise-altering impact that Giants people clearly believe that he can have. Wow, we're in a new era, and with us being in the digital era here, I think it's off to a great start for your New York football team.
So perhaps I should have gone 10. I don't know. I'm always a conservative, as you know. I'm a slow but steady
kind of how can you, in a situation like this is just so rare. You didn't hire Kevin Stefanski, and he's only won 8 games. Like, his bad year is Kevin Stefanski's best year.
Right.
Like, Harbaugh at his worst has always been 500, been an 8-8 coach. And at his best, he's been a 12-13 win coach. Like, again, to me, I know sometimes we get into hyperbole when you do grades and power rankings and all this stuff. I don't think there's any hyperbole here. Yes, there was negative in Baltimore, but sometimes Andy Reid, he went to 5 NFC championship games for the Eagles in a Super Bowl. Eventually, stale gets stale, and you break apart, and he goes to the Chiefs and wins 1 million Super Bowl. So I think there's a rejuvenation that seems sort of palpable from John Harbaugh and his presser.
All right. You convinced me. I'm a 10. All right. I'm a 10.
All right. There you go.
You're a 12 for crying out loud. You're not
100%.
even the Giants fan in the room. What's going on over here?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. So
But
there
look
it
at
is.
the
Our
crowd.
rankings across the board. I'll run through mine one more time, Boy Green. I'll just go down my list the way I have it listed here.
Go
And
ahead.
if you want, you can do the same. Harbaugh's a 10. Joe Brady, I'm giving a 6. Todd Monken, a 4. Clint Kubiak, a 7. Mike LaFleur, my lowest grade on the scale, of a 1. Kevin Stefanski, a 7. Mike McCarthy at the Steelers, a 5. Jeff Hafley of the Dolphins, a 2. Robert Saleh of the Titans, a 3. And Ravens hiring Jesse Minter, a 6. Go ahead and run through yours real quick.
So I'll do 2 things here. First off, I'll just give my range, which was supposed to be 1 to 10. Mine was 12 to -5, baby. Harbaugh on top is a 12 for the Giants, and Jeff Hafley was a -5 for the Miami Dolphins. See, you just never know what can happen. And I want to make sure we get to this, all the Harbaugh love in the chat. 10 out of 10 for that kid to hit. A++++++. Jets Johnny, more 7 out of 10, B-. I think it could work out really well. He says he's not sold on Jackson Dart. Very fine. That's so be it. That kid to it. I think the Jets could be the NFC East winners in 2026. Oh my. Okay, here we go, baby. That is Jets Johnny immediately telling him to chill out. That's a little aggressive. We've bitten off a little bit more than we can chew here, but there is plenty of love.
You keep each other in check. I like that over there in the comments.
That is nice.
Go for it.
So I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody in here that has been with us throughout this report card, all the comments and stuff, which is cool. So James, Jets Johnny, that kid did. I'm going to miss people if I start naming people, but very active chat. I loved it in this sort of segment.
Yep. And one more time, for those of you that tuned in late, membership is now available on our channel. Boy Green has just popped it up right there. We have 3 levels of membership. You can see the perks for each. If you go all the way up to the Hall of Famer membership, you can get a spot in what is going to be a brand new fantasy league that we are creating associated with the Manchild Show with Boy Green digital channel only. And we'll follow you on your social media channels as well. Help you out a little bit there. But you can certainly get in on the other levels as well. Get some loyalty badges, some emojis, some member shout-outs, as you heard us already given today. You want to step your game up a little bit and be a diehard. We're going to start doing members-only live streams. Boy Green did his first for his coffee club the other day. Sounds like it was a raving success, so we're looking forward to that. You'll also get some members-only videos and shorts. So perks for each level. Merch will soon be available too. I'm working on getting us a merch store set up, so you got to give me another week or 2 to get that rolling, but we're working on that behind the scenes, and we rolled out our first piece of merch. They aren't for sale yet, but they will be soon. The 12th Manchild pint glasses. All right, you get have yourself a pint, as I am this morning, my friends. or drink your soda pop in our pint glass. Really, really cool. 12th Manchild on one side, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, our new logo, which you see right up in the top left corner of our screen every day. On the other side, very, very cool little item, and you can say you got our first piece of merch. All right, we'll do. I definitely will on our Wednesday live show this week give away a few more pint glasses. I'll continue to be Lurch mailing center here, and send out a couple more to some folks. So we'll let you know how you can get one for free. And we will in the very near future, once we get our store set up, have those pint glasses for sale. So if you want to purchase one and become part of our family and support us that way, you can do that as well. So very, very exciting time. You can also super chat right now. You can gift us. You can do all the things that a lot of other channels have had for a long time. But we have been busy establishing ourselves over the last 6 months. And finally, YouTube is giving us the opportunity to connect with you guys in different ways. So I hope you'll take advantage of that over the next coming months and years as we continue to develop our channel. Also want to point out as well, Northeast Roofing Professionals. You see them right over the top of us in the center of the screen. They are our presenting sponsor. Wonderful, wonderful roofing company right here in the greater Syracuse, central New York area. They specialize working in the areas of Fayetteville and DeWitt. And if you want to set up an appointment to have a roof done this spring or summer, now's the time to reach out to our friends at Northeast Roofing Professionals. So do that. And I just saw it flash there, Creative Florist, one of our 3 florists from the Allen Floral Group, who are now joining us, especially as we approach Valentine's Day. So again, if you are a native Central New Yorker and are watching the channel, please stop by one of those 3 locations. St. Agnes, you see them right there, Creative Florists as well. And by Wednesday, I should have a little discount code available to you. So if you do go in there and purchase your flowers for Valentine's Day, we'll save you some money just by simply telling them the discount code when you walk in. So I'm still getting that squared away, exactly what the discount's going to be and what the code is going to be. So we'll have your secret code for you that'll come on the show on Wednesday. Wow, what a action-packed show that was today, Boy Green. I'll pass it over to you for any other final thoughts, anything else you want to clean up today.
Yeah, it's just I want to give a shout out to our number 1 Austrian Jets fan who, again, gifted 5 memberships to the Boy Green Coffee Club and 5 memberships to the MC Show digital channel, as we're highlighting here on the screen. So very sweet, very kind. Thank you, Austrian. You've been a massive supporter of both of these channels. So it means the world. So again, 5 to the Boy Green Coffee Club, 5 to the MC Show digital. Pretty cool. And again, I'm excited for all the different ways our memberships are going to blow up moving forward. So thank you to everyone in the audience. I'll try to real quick rapid fire go through a couple of comments, although we have hundreds of comments. So I don't know if we're going to be able to get to everyone, but I did see a couple here that I want to try to highlight real quick. Let's see. Let's go. Just win Super Bowl before I die. Hey, I get to see a live Boy Green show. Question is, does any coach or player want to come to the Jets with this clown show of an owner or head coach? My guess is no. Probably going to get all of the misfits. Again, it's one of 32 jobs. You're going to hear this sort of thing all the time. But if things don't, AG staying this year outside something crazy, so he's going to be here. If they fire him after this season, the Jets will have 3 first-round picks and $200 million in cap space. That's going to be a very attractive job to a bevy of candidates. And if I'm a Jets fan, I'm trying to look for the silver lining here. Sean McDermott's taking the year off. Mike Tomlin is at least taking the year off. Maybe he's retired forever. Kevin O'Connell could be traded next year. I mean, there's all kinds of tantalizing possibilities for 2027 if you don't believe in AG and you don't think he's going to turn it around. So, yes, players and coaches, for that matter, are going to want to come here. And it'll be tested out in a month in free agency. Can the Jets get anyone in here? I think bags of money say differently. I say bags of money will say that, as a matter of fact, we will be getting some of those in. Lurch, I don't know how deep you want to go in on this one, but Phil Larmer says, what's your take on Steve Tisch and the Epstein crowd? I think he should resign. I know he's not going to sell his stake in the Giants, but yeah, there's some very concerning things that came out in the Athletic column. And Steve Tisch has since released a statement basically indicating that it was all adult things. It wasn't involving minors. But anywho, it's a big mess.
Yeah. What constitutes an adult? I mean, if you're a 60-plus-year-old guy and, you're getting together with even 20-something-year-old women, it's kind of like, what are you doing?
And trafficking. And there's a lot of alleged things here. It's very nasty.
I've read through some of the stuff. I mean, the emails sound very damaging. Like he was, in some of the things that were released, he's talking very, very directly about, dates and setting him up and so on and so forth. He denies at this point that he visited the island, as many have, because of course we know about the island that was,
That's right.
basically a lot of bad things going on there. But clearly he was involved for a period of time. It does not look good. It is a terrible look for the New
Right.
York Football Giants, and it's hard to get ownership out.
Right.
So I mean, that's the problem. I mean, the Mara and Tisch families are very, very close. They've co-owned this team for a long time together now. Does suddenly now the Maras, declare war on the Tisches, and like, I don't really see that happening. But maybe Steve Tisch needs to consider the idea of resigning his position of sorts. You could still remain an investor, you could still remain involved behind the scenes, but the fact is, this is a guy that was sitting in on coaching meetings. This is a guy that was sitting in on coaching interviews. This is a guy who is part of the brain trust that makes the day-to-day decisions at the ownership level for the Giants.
Mhm.
And this has certainly put a very, very big black mark on it. So, yeah, that's about, I guess, what I'm willing to say at this point. I mean, this is a very, very
Of course.
icky,
Right.
disgusting story. Period.
Yeah, very much so. Again, tough to say without all the details out, but doesn't look good. Retire 80 already is a big Syracuse fan locally, saying, Manchild, did you see the new head coach to the left? He was talking about the Aaron Glenn stuff. Autry and Glenn have a lot of comparisons, fan fave, but just in general, like what's sort of your current temperature on Adrian Autry right now? So to Neil Adler's point over the weekend, right? Oh boy, if Syracuse loses and blow out fashion Notre Dame, maybe something could happen. Obviously that didn't happen. So he remains the head coach. So we didn't get the dynamite, losing streak extending even more to a disgusting level. But sort of what's your temperature right now on Coach Adrian Autry here locally for Syracuse basketball?
Extremely worrisome. I mean, he's in a very fragile position, and it's really going to take close to a miracle for them to get back in the conversation by the end of the year as a tournament team, which is what the goal was at the beginning of the season, pretty much as stated, maybe not exactly, but very, very closely stated, or close to being stated, by the athletic director, John Wildhack, who one would think is kind of at the head of the table here in terms of making decisions about whether the coach stays or goes. Syracuse had to have that win. It was a very emotional day as well for Syracuse fans. Lawrence Moten, who passed this past year, was honored. So there was a little extra juice in the building for that. Notre Dame's not a very good basketball team this year, so Syracuse, had to win that game. You're in your own building against a team that has a lesser record than you. You got to go out and beat them. And so they took care of business, which is what Adrian Autry needed. There were a couple of interesting things in that game. Donnie Freeman not starting, and what's going on there? Is that an injury-related thing? That's kind of been on the hush-hush in terms of what's going on there. There has been some challenges about lack of effort. Adrian Autry speaking about how Sadiq White in the prior game was the only guy that he could really point to that was giving 100% effort for 100% of the game. And there's Sadiq White now sitting in the lineup in place of Donnie Freeman. Was that just connected to Sadiq White's good play, or is there something going on behind the scenes with Donnie Freeman and not maybe playing up to his potential? He's clearly Syracuse's most important player this year. He's the guy that has the most upside as we speak of this roster. But you do have to be, you have to bring the discipline hammer down sometimes when you're the head coach. So this win didn't certainly, the win might have saved his job in the sense that, if they went down badly in their own building to Notre Dame, maybe,
sure,
they might make a move during the season. I still don't think anything's going to happen until this season is done. And so Adrian Autry has a stay of execution here where he can try to get some things done. By the way, they're playing North Carolina in North Carolina tonight. So you want to talk about taking the Notre Dame thing and then turn it into something even better and really, really at least going from a steaming hot seat to a warmer seat. Go down there to Chapel Hill and go beat Carolina tonight, and that might get the fan base at least a little bit off his case. But in the end, the only ticket out to me, Boy Green, is a ticket to the dance. And right now, they are in as shaky a position as you can be. But they do still have enough games against enough good teams that if they miraculously, and I do say miraculously, turned it around, okay, they could find their way. But it's a very steep slope, an unlikely slope And so we'll see what Adrian Autry can do. But I'm not going to be one of those kind of fans. And I see them out there on the forums and in the comments a lot of times that are just like literally like rooting for them to lose, like saying, I hope they get blown out by Notre Dame so they'll just fire this guy. To me, you're not a real fan if you're doing that.
Right. Which some people did say that on social media.
You root for your team to win. You root for your team to win day in and day out and let the chips fall where they may. You don't go out there and say, let's tank it. Let's have a disastrous effort here against Notre Dame.
So we can get rid of him.
So we can get rid of the guy. If it's not meant to be, at some point he'll be gone, if it's not meant to be. But I also think he deserves the chance to turn it around. And it's going to be a miracle. It's going to be a miracle. I'm not saying he's going to turn it around. I'm not. All right. But he still has enough of a season in front of him that it could flip. Now
it could.
It's unlikely, but it could.
So, by the way, that get to it. Win stream, guys, keep it up. So, kids are yelling my name over there. So, for me, and Lurch, what a fun show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And, Lurch, if you have any final comments or thoughts. And, wow, what a show.
And, doors of membership are open now. So, please jump on the 12th Manchild. Be part of our little growing community. We love you there. For those of you that show up in the comments each and every show, we love you as well. For those of you that show up for these live events, we're back live again on Wednesday at 11. As usual, we've got plenty of great content again coming your way this week. Jets, Giants, Bills, all be back on the plate again. So lots and lots of content, SU content coming your way at the end of the week too. So we'll have a chance to look back at a couple of games here, see where Syracuse, do they have a 3-game winning streak by the time we talk again to our SU Insider? Or are they back in the tank again? And are we back talking about whether the coach should be fired before the season ends? So there's just a lot of chatter. But I'm glad that we have sewed everything up with the coaching situations in the NFL, other than just making it official on Clint Kubiak, which I'm sure will happen early next week. And now it's onward and upward the rest of this week, Boy Green, to talk about the Super Bowl. And I'm sure we'll spend time with with our NFL insider in the fold talking about the Super Bowl later this week. Looking forward to that, my friend.
Yeah, can't wait. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Take care.